Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Edwin back again for Strictly Comics, and we're having a special live chat for the holiday weekend. We're going to be discussing Star Wars Rogue One, and I have a couple of people here with me. I have Justin from Exilestate Comics. Justin, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Good to be back. Missed hanging out with you.
I missed hanging out with you too, man. It feels like something was missing in my life, and I think I figured out what it was.
Oh, man. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, but no, Rogue One, I'm excited to talk about it. Big weekend. We got to check those numbers. I haven't checked the box office numbers yet.
Well, I got them, and we're going to definitely talk about that. Thanks so much, though, for joining us. All right, next we got a newcomer. We have Toyboxx with us, aka Arnold. You can call him whichever one you want to. He's kind of a Star Wars geek, fanatic, whatever you want to call him. Toyboxx, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Edwin?
Good, man, good. I just want to thank you for being on the show with us, and I think we got a lot to discuss here.
Yes.
What about you?
I'm geeked. Can't wait to talk about this. It's a lot to talk about in terms of the movie. So, yeah,
I agree. So let's get right into it. Thanks so much for joining us. All right. So, I guess first thing I'll do is initial thought. I actually this up for people that maybe. Oh no, I'll take that back. Let me say this. If you have not seen it, I'll be doing spoilers. So this is not a spoiler-free. Yep, this is not a spoiler-free show. Spoiler alert like crazy because I want to tell everything. One, I don't do a lot of live chats. Number two, I really don't do a lot of topics on movies and stuff. But this one I felt like needed to be done. So if you do not want to see any spoilers, don't watch from here on out. So who wants to set this up for the for those who might be watching?
I think it should be our expert here.
Go ahead, Mark. Set it up, man. Set it up.
All right. Well, and oh man, it's in the very first few scenes. It reminded me of episode 7, in particular of Rey, when she was having flashbacks when she touched the lightsaber and she's seen herself basically being up in the ship. The character, what was her name? I apologize for everybody. I forgot the names. I think her name was Jin.
Yeah,
she reminded me of Rey.
Yeah, that was it.
And there's speculation on the internet that Rey's mother is her. That's the
really?
Speculation of that right now on the internet. I don't know who it is. I mean, people think it's Han Solo's daughter. I think it's Luke Skywalker's daughter personally on episode 7, but right now it's people are saying, oh, that's Rey's mom. So,
well, no spoilers or anything, but there's no way that that's possible for Jin to be Rey's mom.
Well, at that point of Rogue One, she's around the same. Well, is it? No, she can't be. Luke Skywalker is like 14 years old at that time, and Jin is like 21. I want to say at that point.
Well, yeah, because Luke's wanting to go to the academy, and Uncle Ben saying, "No, you got to wait another season."
Yep, he's about 14, 15 years old at that point. So
another thing that we got to realize is that we didn't. My wife and I had to kind of put this together. Rogue One, it's between.
It's right before 4.
Yep.
Yeah, it's in between 3 and 4. Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Shout out to Silos. Shout out to Rez.
What up,
join
Rez?
us. Thank you so much. So yeah, it was. What are y'all's thoughts? What are y'all's thoughts about the film?
Go ahead, Justin.
I mean, overall, I definitely liked it. It was, I didn't have too many expectations just because it was a story, kind of a side story. It wasn't our main story. I knew going into it we weren't going to have Jedi everywhere and things like that. That you want from Star Wars. You want lightsabers, you want that thing. But this was a specific story about a very specific mission and what they had to do to obtain that. So I thought they pulled it off brilliantly. It looked great. It definitely had a feel of the older trilogy, and which is what I really liked. So I really dug it.
Oh yeah, that's good. What about you, on?
I was me and the fiance, we were walking into the theater, and I asked her, will it have the traditional Star Wars crawl in the very beginning? And it did not. I was waiting for it, and I was like, you know, one of those things. And then it showed the first scene, and boom, Rogue One, and just kind of did like the, you know, fade out like that, and then went to the next scene. And I was, man, hype machine was going on with in the theater at the time. The theater was packed when we went, surprisingly. It was the second day. We seen it yesterday on a Saturday. So, but yeah, just from the beginning, I mean, you got my attention, especially with the no opening traditional Star Wars crawl. So it was pretty cool.
That's true. You didn't get the storyline panning up.
Yep.
Did you?
Nope.
Yeah, I was looking for that too. I was like, okay, has it started yet? Or
but I'm thinking we're gonna get that on this, like the side stories. Like we won't get a scroll on the Han Solo movie, but we'll get it on 8 and 9. But we won't get it on the Boba Fett movie, or whatever else movies we get originally down the line. Because I'm sure we're gonna get one every year for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, in the first few minutes, it got my attention. It kind of had the episode. I want to say it kind of reminded me of episode 4 a little bit, when the ship was coming down to the station and stuff like that. A little bit. It wasn't the what is it called? Drawing a blank. The big old ship on the episode 4 with the cameras underneath.
I'm thinking. Oh man, I forget, man. God.
Yeah. Star Destroyer, I think they were called, but.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. One of the Star Destroyers, yeah.
Sorry, I was on mute. I was saying Star Destroyer.
So one of the things I want to talk about was there were a lot of surprises to me in the film. With my wife and I. Well, first of all, let me say this: my wife, when it comes to films, movies, and stuff like that, she's pretty picky, and this is like the second time that I actually had some success with her, because she went in seeing the episode 7, which had what was it, The Force Awakens. She loved it. She liked it. Toward the end of this movie, same reaction, same conclusion. She loved it, and to me that says a lot, because my wife's expertise a little bit is in media, and she knows a little bit about the film industry and stuff like that. And so there's certain things that she'll look out for that some other people don't look for. And one of the things that was the writing was very well done, because I didn't know just how much this story is. I didn't know how much of the glue substance of this story was going to be to kind of bridge that episode 3 and episode 4 as much as what it was. That was kind of a big surprise. But one of the surprises that I really took notice of was, like we were talking off air before we started the show, was characters that they brought back from episode 4, and of course you saw Leia. They brought the young Princess Leia, not the one we got from the Force Awakens. But those were 2 really big surprises when I first saw it. You're on mute, Justin.
Also like the fact that they tested the Death Star in there. So I mean, we got a lot of Death Star moving around, which we didn't get in the other movies, because it was busy being blown up. But the fact that they were able to move it, they did test on a couple places, which I just thought was really awesome that they went ahead and showed that,
Yeah, and the testing wasn't like a planet destroyer right away. It was just more like a city or town destroyer. Like maybe they had the blast on like 2% or something like that. I don't know. But that was really cool.
Yeah, 2% looks like it
Maybe
took away the planet, or half of it anyway.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the character Mon Mothma. She looks just like the actress from episode 4, almost spot on.
Yeah,
Well, which one is she?
She was she had like the little swoop on her hair, all white, wearing the giant necklaces for the rebels, the general.
Oh,
Yeah,
she was
so-
okay, yeah.
When they were
Looks-
having like the council meeting or whatever, she was like the leader of it, basically.
Looked just like her. My fiance was like, "Is that the same actress?" I'm like, "No, she's not the same age of 30 plus years ago." But but yeah, just looked just like her. I was pretty impressed.
Hmm.
So that wasn't her, but they had somebody look just like her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't really. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought I would have just assumed it was the same lady. She just aged really, really well,
Right.
or not at all.
Yeah,
The
really.
makeup effects, it's awesome.
You got enough money in Hollywood, you know.
Yeah, especially Disney.
Yeah, I know, right? So, we're talking offline. I think domestically, Rogue One brought in 155 million opening weekend.
Wow.
And worldwide, let me get my numbers correct. I think it was about 291 million. Now they had a budget of 200 million, which is a pretty large budget. But I think that Disney was pretty confident that it was going to do well, because I don't know. I just think that's a lot of money to do on a film when you don't have Harrison Ford, you don't have
Right.
none of the original cast.
But
It brought in 290.5 worldwide opening weekend.
it had Vader.
Sorry.
It had a lot of Vader.
Did it really?
Well, I mean, if
Vader's money.
If I don't know, if you go back and watch A New Hope, it's got more Vader than A New Hope.
That's true. That's very true. And what I enjoyed about Rogue One a lot was, one, there's no Jedi. The prequels killed or oversaturated the Jedi, in my opinion. Before in '98, when I heard that episode 1 was going to be made, I was like, "Oh, I like to see the inner workings of the Jedi." I'm tired of it now. With Rogue One, you actually seen the inner workings of the Imperials, and it brought back the same fear I had when I was a child of Darth Vader, especially when he came up and he did the Force choke, type of thing. You choke on your aspirations, he says. To me, I thought that was kind of cheesy, but it was kind of cool at the same time. It brought that same fear, that like ominous, dread, like, oh man,
Yeah.
But Darth Vader, I think with Rogue One, in my opinion, they redeemed him big time, especially at the end of the movie. That was a sweet scene. When when they uploaded or downloaded the blueprints to the Death Star, and they physically trying to hand it off to the different soldiers, and here comes Darth Vader slaughtering everybody.
Mhm.
That was so cool.
Yeah, but one of the things I noticed when we went to watch A New Hope, when he at the very beginning when he boards the rebel ship, he says he's looking for those plans, but I thought that originally he said he's looking for those droids.
He didn't know
Was he
they
there
he
to
didn't
look
know
for
they
the
had been
droids
put
or
into
look for
droids
plans?
yet.
Right.
When he first got on, they were still on that data chip or whatever. She hadn't put him in a droid. So when he gets on that ship, he's still just looking for the data. He doesn't know it's in droids until they discover that the pod's been released and 2 droids were in it or something, right? Later?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so even the original back in '77, he says that he was looking for the plans.
Right.
Okay, I thought it was the droids all along, and they just kind of edited that audio part just to.
Yeah. I don't know. I have
I
it
think
on.
you- no, I think
I have
you're
like it. I have it on VHS from the '80s, so I could go back and watch.
Before the
Yeah.
1997 digital remastered or whatever that was. That
Let's
was a
add
mess
some
too.
CG here, and let's add a little CG here.
That was a mess.
Everywhere.
But after watching Rogue One, though, I told my fiance, I nudged her. I said, "That's how you tell a story, George Lucas." George Lucas
Man.
and his writing, he's done. Don't direct anymore. Just sit back, produce your movies.
Well, the good thing with that movie is going into it when they're like, "All right, we're going to make this Rogue One movie." They already had their endpoint.
Right.
They already had the point where it was going to end. They didn't have to like it was built in how it was going to tie in and everything. So they just had to get to that point, and I think they did a really good job with it.
I liked also that they crapped all over George Lucas's MacGuffin on the end of New Hope with the vent shaft. They explained the vent shaft, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, they circled back around and made it make sense and why it was done. But but I'll say I went last night and my theater was still like it was packed.
Was it?
I was in one of those theaters where it seemed like they just cleared out all their other movies and were running Rogue One in like every single theater room they had.
Wow.
But it was packed in there to the point by the end of the movie, I was sweating. It was so hot. There were so many people. Yeah,
man.
So I can believe the numbers, and especially with like the Christmas week, kids being out of school and stuff like that. Anybody who didn't already see it, I'd say this. I don't because what's coming out this week, Assassin's Creed. That's not going to draw the same kind of numbers in any sort of way whatsoever.
I think with Assassin's Creed going up against Rogue One, it's not going to flop, but it's going to do some damage in terms of profitability with Assassin's Creed. And that's another podcast in itself of my dislikes or displeasure with Assassin's Creed. But Rogue One was awesome.
But one of the biggest indicators, especially when it comes to a film like this, is the second week.
Right.
Because like when you look at films like Batman versus Superman, I think it took like almost a 69% drop from first week to second week. Now, I've been told that the indication of a good or solid film is if it drops like less than 50%. Because when you look at Rogue One, I think it appeals to fans of the original Star Wars from back in the 70s. And even now, because if you're just a geek from the 70s that you just love Star Wars and just watched it religiously, you can watch Rogue One and bring back all those feelings of New Hope and that nostalgia and everything that you grew up watching and be like, man, this is an awesome film. And so what I'm getting at is that through discussion and word of mouth and stuff like that, I'm hoping that a lot of people will go to see it. Because a lot of people are like, look, A New Hope, what is this? There ain't no, Luke Skywalker, there ain't no, Princess Leia, none of this in it. But it still does a good job of having that original feel to it and still carrying on, kind of passing the torch on to future generations and still telling a very, very good story.
Right, and I would even go so far as to say is like this movie could be standalone. If you were someone who didn't know anything about Star Wars, I wouldn't say that they would need to go back and watch the other films to watch this one and understand what's going on, because they set it up from the very beginning what this one's going to be about, and then they end it with that. So I think it's a good way to draw people in. It also seems kind of strange to me, maybe just thinking about it now, to put this movie out while we still have the other episodes, because 8's coming out next year, 7 just came out, so we got that timeline, and now we've jumped back with Rogue One, which I guess we're going to jump back with the Han Solo movie too. So it'd be crazy.
Yeah, I also heard in pre-production right now was Han Solo. They're going to do his movie, I believe, after 8. I want to say so. Don't know yet.
Yeah, they've cast Lando. So.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, Donald Glover.
Wow, sweet.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, it's George Lucas had his creation. He could open up the universe, and that's basically what I'm trying to say. But he never did. He just sat on the licensing of aspect of everything. Now that he's no longer involved, we're going to see everything. It's going to be so cool. Excited.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because that's got to be painful to somebody who creates something and then you sit back and watch somebody else take your work and just do a much better job with it than you ever could have.
Right.
Do you think he cares? Do you think he's kind of like, I should have done that, or maybe I should have did this?
He crapped and complained about it a few months back. He went on record saying that he brought up suggestions. He was a consultant for Disney, and Disney said, "Oh yeah, sure, yep, nodded," and they just went whoop. One of those things, push him off to the side. Yeah, and he got all upset and went public about it. So, oh well.
because like I'm looking at it, I'm thinking like, okay, so when I compare Rogue One to the prequels, um, I think I actually think I like the Part 3, Revenge of the Sith prequels, but when you watch the gross the money that it brought in, it just went down from number 1, number 2, number 3. I think number 3 brought in the less. I don't even think it reached $1 billion. But I think the biggest part about Part 3 was when you actually saw Vader getting his mask and his suit and all that stuff at the very end. And so I'm wondering, like, okay, do you think Disney is trying to kind of make people forget about that by doing these, prequels to A New Hope and whatnot? Just kind of something I just thought about.
Well, it was what Lucas did in episode 4 in the very beginning. This is what I loved about his introduction to the Star Wars saga. Back then was the focus was on Luke Skywalker, and you see his family, and you got some dialogue to flesh out the Uncle Owen and Aunt Brew and Uncle Owen, and Obi-Wan Kenobi and stuff like that. And then when about midway through the film, the characters split off and did their own things. That's what I liked about it, especially in Return of the Jedi. You got Han and Leia doing their own thing, and split over here. You see Lando fighting in space battles, and then you got Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. With episode 1, you didn't really see that. You see Qui-Gon Jinn and young Obi-Wan Kenobi the entire time. That kind of it didn't really do well, didn't serve the story very well. Episode 2 did a little bit better, and then episode 3 did a way better way of storytelling and whatnot. So
yeah, you mentioned earlier that it wasn't like a Jedi movie.
Right.
There was one Jedi. His name is he was played by Donnie Yen, and his character's name was Chirrut.
Was he a Jedi?
Wait, wasn't he? Because he kept saying
he wanted to be a Jedi.
Yeah, he was.
I think he was just like a Force worshiper.
Yeah, he was Force sensitive. There was another lady in episode 7. I'm trying to bring up IMDb right now. My computer's in a butt.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, with big glasses.
Yeah.
And she, told Rey basically said there's a lightsaber and whatnot. She is Force sensitive as well, but she was not a Jedi.
Right. Okay. So he's just Force sensitive, which you could kind of tell. Yep. Which he, had to have heightened senses anyway. But
yeah,
I really I thought he was a Jedi the whole time.
So yeah, him and his buddy. I don't know if his buddy was a stormtrooper or not at one point. He kind of had the armor in a way.
That, or I almost thought he was a bounty hunter. I thought he had a helmet at one point, and then he didn't take it with him.
So that could be a movie in itself.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
That would be a really cool buddy space movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I was totally confused. I thought he was, and either way, he did a really good job because he kicked some butt.
Yes, he did.
And it kind of reminded me of what's that Mortal Kombat? Was it Ren? The character Ren that had the red, kind of had this Daredevil thing going on in Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of cool. That's.
But Jyn did have a kyber crystal around her neck. That was okay.
Is that what that was?
And those were used for the sabers.
Yep.
And then also that's what they're trying to get to generate the Death Star, right?
Right. So that's pretty messed up. That the Death Star is basically a giant lightsaber.
Pretty much. which makes sense because that's the only only power enough to destroy a planet.
Right. But I mean, if you think about it, the Death Star plans they goes back as far as when did we see those originally in episode 1 or 2? The plans to the Death Star and that's Obi-Wan's in those caves. Yeah. So they went back that far, but I don't know. That's just crazy to think about because I don't ever think did we know that before that they was powered by the kyber crystals?
No, it was unexplained.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't
with the
know
Death
that.
Star,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't think that we'd heard that before. So
Nope. And then there's a nearby planet that was just nothing but kyber crystals. They had their own refinery there. It's like, how convenient, but
mhm. Well, that refinery's gone now.
pretty much. Yeah.
You know, I don't know if anybody else caught this, but when I was watching the film and you see them getting into formation, going to attack the planet to try to get rid of the shield that's over the planet, you see these little clips from Star Wars: A New Hope. You see like the guys say, "Gold leader, red leader," and they take these clips from way back then and put them in this film. I was like, "Oh wow, that was."
Yeah, I was. We were watching a little review, and the guy did on the internet or on YouTube did his review, and he said those were actually deleted scenes that they grabbed and cleaned up. And because I recognized the guy, I looked at the guy that says red leader or in position or whatever his dialogue was. I looked him up. He died years ago. But yeah, they grabbed his footage, cleaned it up really, really well to match the film. They put it right in there. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, wow. But that's really good use of like, we've already got this footage of these guys.
Right.
Let's use it. You know, this will really sew it back in for that nostalgic feel.
And I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
There, Justin.
Go ahead.
When we were watching the movie, we were like, where's Rogue? What was Rogue used in before episode 4? Luke Skywalker's was his call sign was Rogue Leader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that, man. Good, good way to pay attention there, man. Rogue leader, that's right.
Yeah, you got the Gold Leader. I think he died fairly quickly, along with the fat guy. But I with Rogue One and Episode 7, I'm curious what the planet death count would be with Episode 8. In Episode 7, five planets died. Episode 4, Alderaan died. So six down.
And they actually in Rogue. No, that's a good point. In Rogue One, they actually destroyed their own planet that they were inhabiting.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I mean, they say they weren't destroying the planet, but whatever they did would completely change the atmosphere of the planet for years and years and years. So, for all intents and purposes, they destroyed those two worlds. Which I thought was messed up to destroy your own library.
Yeah. They blew up their data archives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did. That's why I was like, why? I mean, you do all that just to get rid of, a handful of. That's pretty extreme. That's like you got like, you got ants in the house. You're just going to destroy the house.
Yeah, bomb it.
Get rid of your ants or your roaches or whatever.
Yeah. Funny. You got ants, you nuke the state.
Oh man. Good though, man. Rogue One was actually so good, man. And I was surprised to see Vader in there twice. Like he had 2 little scenes. And they did
3 times. Yeah.
Well, I didn't use the bathroom, man, so I only saw it twice.
Well,
like
I would like to get when they first show him when he's in his like whatever healing tube of whatever
healing baths. Yeah.
I would like to get like a better image of how they had him in that, because that was really quick.
Yeah. Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back had to take a bath like that too after he got attacked by the
right
in the cave there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So but what did Vader just do to need that bath?
Exactly. Yeah.
What had he just been doing? Yeah.
So yeah, the CG work on especially the character General Tarkin and Princess Leia at the very end. There was a little uncanny valley with Princess Leia, but Tarkin was spot on. I thought you see his reflection. He's looking at the Death Star and you see his reflection on the window. I'm like, this is sweet. And then he turned around. I'm like, wow, wow. Yeah, it was just really, really good. And the guy that voice acted him, I have to look up his name. Did a spot on job. with that
Sounded
as
just
well.
like him, man. Shoot.
Just like him.
Yeah, like I said,
And
I
then-
watched
and
the
then
new
they
one
had,
today, so it was
And then they
exact.
had what's his name? The guy who plays Vader.
James Earl
James
Jones.
Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones. I hear it's like pulling teeth with him just to come every time they do a Star Wars film to get him to do voiceover. Like I don't get it.
Well, he's in his 80s now, so I don't blame him.
You would think at this point they would just go in, they would pay him a ton of money and have him read like 4 or 5 pages with just like
Right.
every word imaginable on it. Then they could go in and just piece together whatever dialogue they needed, you know?
Just like Vin Diesel now, Guardians of the Galaxy, I am Groot. He said over 200 times. All right, James, could you say this?
Right. We need a different
dictionary.
inflection on this word, please.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was that old, but I don't know. I would think maybe you could just bring mail a microphone to his house or something, let him
Well,
read him on a mic, and then send it to the lab and have him.
Yeah, pretty much do with Roger Ebert, right?
hmm
Something. I mean, I know an 80-year-old doesn't want to get up and do a whole lot of moving around, but I don't know.
They say though the voice acting part or that gig is like one of the best in Hollywood if you can get it. So
Yeah. Made decent money.
right.
Yeah. So one of the things I thought was interesting though was there was a lot of good movies that were being talked about before the film. I don't know if the theaters where you guys are at show like the same previews, but I mean, of course, a lot of them they've showed already on YouTube and whatnot. But I saw the new Spider-Man movie. I saw Guardians of the Galaxy movie. What else did they show? What else did you guys?
New Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, Pirates. That looks really interesting.
Oh, really? We didn't see that.
Yeah. It was Pirates 6.
Mm-hmm. What else? Man, it felt like there were 100 previews, and I can only remember none of them.
But that's always interesting. I don't know about you guys, but I like to get to the movie theater early so I can watch the previews, see what's going on. It's always a nice little treat.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to see the same previews that I've seen online. Saw the King Arthur new movie, the Guy Ritchie King Arthur movie. I think that'll be really cool. What's it? Is it Excalibur by the Sword or King Arthur by the Sword or something like that? But Guy Ritchie's doing it, and it's got the guy from Pacific Rim and Sons of Anarchy. He's King Arthur. Jude Law's also in it.
Yeah, that's new.
Yeah, that one looks really good. I'm trying to think of something else, but I can't. It'll come to me as we keep going.
So where do you guys think Star Wars goes from here, man? I know we got episode, 8 coming out?
Yeah.
That's the next thing to expect, or what?
I would laugh if they literally continued from when Rey and Luke Skywalker was having a stare down. I'd laugh.
Yeah. Do you think that'll be a flashback? Like we won't, like it'll jump to like after that, or maybe we'll get that discussion at some point?
Yeah, I think they might, either in Luke's hut or wherever he's at in that island he's on. Yeah, they're gonna have to do something with that. There's so many questions that need to be answered already from episode 7.
Yeah, I think they just need to go ahead and get it over with and tell us her parents. Like, just get it out of the way.
Yeah,
just get it out of the way.
Yep.
Or that could be the massive reveal in 9. I don't know.
So then, but what about side movies? Is the week coming up? What's Harrison Ford's character?
Han Solo.
So that's the other side movie that Disney's doing.
Yep.
And when is that supposed to come out?
I don't know. I read that on the internet. That it was like pre-production.
So I'm assuming it's after, right? The one we got coming for next Christmas.
Yeah, I looked up on IMDb. It says expect in 2018.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Donald
two more
Glover's
years.
playing Lando. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the side movie? The idea. What were y'all's thoughts about the whole side stories, anyways, going into this? Were you guys open to it, or
This
just want
one,
to stick to the main?
because it's so closely tied in, like, I mean, it's mentioned in like the first couple movies, you know, and in the original trilogy, this mission is kind of mentioned. So I'd say it's a good first step for side stories. It takes you out, you know, just outside of normal canon or outside of the normal story that you've been looking at. So I'd say it's a good first step, and it opens them up to other side stories.
Okay. What about you, Aaron?
I didn't know what to make of it, honestly. Rogue One, tell a story about stealing the blueprints of the Death Star between episodes 3 and 4, and I was like, I don't know. Let's see how this plays out. And as it got closer and closer to the release date, I actually got pretty geeked about it. But yeah, initially I didn't know how that was going to turn out, but it turned out really well. Good story.
Yeah, I thought so as well, man. It was so well executed. Was it perfect? It was pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, seriously, yeah, it was
That's
pretty
what I'm
close because I watched a few like non-spoiler reviews from people before I went in, and a lot of people did say like it does start out slow, which I did notice, and I'm getting a little worried about, like, is my wife gonna like it? Is she gonna be asleep? And then I'm also looking at like the kids and stuff. Are kids gonna be asleep? Because talking to Rez gonna bring her kids next week. And I'm thinking like, oh man, she got kids. I don't know if they're gonna be awake for that first 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Once you get into it, it's like stay awake to see what's going on, man. It was such a very well done film. So it's a perfection in my opinion.
So in terms of production and just the overall quality of Rogue One, comparing 7 with Rogue One, which do you think is better?
That's a good question, man. I thought about that after the film, and I actually like Rogue One better than the Force Awakens. That's a really good question. Dun, dun, dun.
Man,
He's still thinking over there.
I'm still thinking about it. Nah, I'll say I liked Force. I really liked Rogue One. Not taking anything away from it, but I liked Force Awakens better.
So many lives died for those blueprints.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Several
dudes that
different
died. Yeah. And of course, you see R2D2 and C3PO made a little cameo.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
They're on the base there.
In there. So it was overall a fun movie. There was a scene. What was that? I'm trying to be politically correct here. The Asian guy, the Force sensitive guy. Again, I'm bad with names here. That scene in the background, I don't know if you noticed it, but it was like a Chewbacca type of big old like polar bear kind of guy with a Wookiee with a rifle. I looked it up on, I think, People Magazine. We went to the store. They had just Rogue One all over. We looked it up, and they said it was what's that monster in Empire Strikes Back when Luke Skywalker was trapped in that cave. It was one of those guys,
like the polar bear monster.
Yeah,
huh.
It was one of those.
They
guys.
had like they had like a thing on their back or something like that.
Yeah, it was a big old backpack, and he had a
Like
big old blaster, almost like just reminded me of Chewbacca.
So it's like a tame version. Of what? Oh yeah.
That scene
I
was
did remember
pretty
seeing
sweet.
that, yeah. And see, that's one of the reasons why I was telling you, Arn, you should go back and read the comics if you're ever able to, because I was reading a couple of them recently, and I saw those characters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get into a whole lot of Star Wars comic book talk, but Marvel's just doing such a great job of tying everything in together with the movies that are out, because I think that it was Star Wars episode or comic book Star Wars comic book issue what I was reading was I was reading how Obi-Wan is there on, is it Tatooine? Okay, he's there, and he's in a sense he's keeping an eye on Luke Skywalker, but from like a distance. Like there's no awareness of Obi-Wan or anything like that, but Obi-Wan has an awareness of Luke, and he's just watching him and keeping an eye on him and whatnot and all this other stuff. And so it was kind of getting into Luke Skywalker when he was like around 12 years old and stuff. So I'm just noticing that when and then I went and watched A New Hope earlier today, I saw how quickly everything started to, build up, how, Obi-Wan was there and how he knew that all about Luke and whatnot, and how he knew he shouldn't have gone to get his aunt and uncle because he knew what was going to happen. And just my point is just the way that they're tying it all together through the comic books and the movie, and then you start to see more of Obi-Wan's side and perspective as far as his relationship with Luke and how it's always been there, but it's just never been like in person, so to speak.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out the comic books for further details of the new expanded universe.
You should, man, because Justin, you read Vader Down, right? Read or most of it.
Yeah, I read that miniseries. That was pretty good, but I kind of fell off after that.
Yeah, it was a good miniseries because that miniseries takes place after A New Hope. And because Arn, I don't know if you remember Arn, when you have Darth Vader's little ship, and then he's got the two ones next to him.
Yeah.
And then they kind of hit each other, and Darth Vader kind of tail spins out of.
Yeah.
So the Vader Down picks up right after that. Where he spins off to. Yeah, and he kind of goes into some, I don't know if it was what planet it was or whatever, but that was a very interesting. And it was only like what, just
5
like
issues.
6 issues.
I think it was 5 or 6.
That's not too bad.
So
no, they've done a good job. Like they've got good writers. Like Jason Aaron's doing a lot of those stories. So I think they're building a good. And they're also kind of attached to Disney because they're owned by Disney. So it kind of all flows into one machine.
Yeah, really big green machine, huh?
Yep. Go get your Star Wars toys at the Disney store.
And pay ridiculous prices for it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you would. I wonder how close to $1 billion Rogue One already is if you count merchandising.
Yeah.
Because people have been buying Rogue One stuff for months.
Going back to Rogue One, one of the things that I noticed nobody really talked about was the Imperial droid that was reprogrammed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was pretty funny. Like that was a nice little funny spot to the movie there.
Yeah. He added that comic relief that you needed in some of those spots.
Yeah, he was the K2SO droid. He was voiced by Alan Tudyk from Firefly. So
yep, he's cool.
Have we seen those droids in any of the other films?
No, they did a red unit of R2D2. That was in A New Hope as well. When C-3PO and R2D2 are being sold to the midget guys, I forget their names.
Yeah,
but yeah, when they're being sold, the red one, his head blew off on that one. So, or malfunction.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was an. That droid unit was in the Rogue One, which I thought was pretty cool.
Like I said, the only thing about Rogue One though is you can't get attached to any of those characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And remember in New Hope when they were in the cantina, and Luke was trying to just get a drink, and the guy was like, the alien made a sound, and the guy's like, he doesn't like you, and I don't like you either. And then Obi-Wan chopped his arm off. You actually see those two guys in Rogue One,
right?
So the younger version of them. So I thought it was pretty sweet.
Oh, really? I wasn't paying attention to that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but younger by what, like a couple weeks?
I'm not sure between Rogue One and Episode 4.
But it can't be long because Leia's still on the same ship she gets captured on Episode 4. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to like that happens like right, like that leads directly.
That's a good point.
So I'm thinking like Rogue One stuff happened like a week before New Hope. You know, he was on the run for a week before she got captured.
But yeah, you see those two characters, which I thought was pretty cool.
So I don't know. Overall, great movie. I want to go see it again. Is that bad? I want to contribute that much to it?
No, man. Hey, I told my wife when, like, just before Kins was getting ready to leave the theater, I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna go see it again because these type of movies are much better in the cinema. They hit DVD, the likelihood of them ever coming back is like few and far between. Because I don't think Disney's going to do what George Lucas was doing a remastered edition and putting them in the theater 15, 20 years later.
Speaking of that, Disney already announced that I think it's 2018 or 19, one of those two, that they're going to release the digitized versions, the theatrical versions. They're just going to release them. I'll be buying the snot out of that.
Yeah, I'll get that.
I'm not familiar with that type of stuff, but what's the difference between that and what?
And episode 4, when the Death Star blows up, is just an explosion. With a new digital re-release of the 97, you had a ring that goes out from the Death Star and more giant explosion.
It's just all the CGI stuff.
Yeah, and then Cantina, especially that scene, was just nothing but CG.
Or even like, you know, in 4 when Obi-Wan and Luke are on the speeder and they're going into town or in his little ship, like you got those like dinosaur looking things, you know, standing there and stuff, like those aren't shown.
In the original, the theatrical version of The New Hope, Han shot first. Whereas in the digital version, it showed Greedo shot first, and then Han's head just kind of digitized, you know, into one of those things, which it was creepy to watch. His body doesn't move, but his neck does.
Yeah,
really weird.
Yeah. All right. Well, any final thoughts about the movie before we close shop here?
Don't watch it. It's not good.
I think you're right though, Justin. I think everybody should. If you've seen Star Wars already once and you like it that much, man, go see it again before it leaves theaters. And I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'll probably have to go by myself or something. But I'm definitely gonna see it a second time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think just a second time I would view it differently, I think. Even though the first time was great, I think I would be watching it from a different perspective, I think.
Yeah. And I'm glad that they didn't have this cheesy kiss moment between the end. What was her name?
Yeah, Jen.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah. So, all right.
Especially like you said, you're gonna go ahead.
But because of the ending, Jen cannot be Rey's mother. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly,
did she survive some magical way? It seemed like they'd given up and were, you know, ready to get.
Maybe she uses the
by the
Force
wave of doom
to shield her and her man friend from the blast. I don't know. Not likely, but
pretty sure she got vaporized.
Who knows?
Oh yeah, they're all gone. But yeah, once Rogue One, it's gonna suck. Once Rogue One hits DVD, I have 1 through 4 episodes. 1 through 4. I need to get 5 and 6 and Rogue One. I'd like to sit down and watch them all back to back. That's gonna suck, but it'll be very enjoyable.
That'll be, you know, just go ahead and, you know, run to the grocery store, stockpile the house with enough snacks. And then you won't have to leave for, you know, 37 hours.
And in 20 years.
But you know, one of the things I noticed with this film is that Walmart and Target, they're not like all stocked up with all these Star Wars movies like they were last year with Episode 7. And I'm like, why? I mean, with this movie, now's the time definitely to be doing stuff like that, especially with Episode 4. I mean, if not anything, just buy a whole crap load of and just sell them. They'd fly off the shelf like that.
Well, when on Amazon, I looked it up after Episode 7 was released. I need Episode 4, 5. Oh, I'm sorry, 5 and 6. They're going for like $90 a pop on Amazon, just for the DVDs. Yeah. So I was like,
basically, what
cow.
you're saying is like for the next 5 or 10 years, you're not going to be able to get a used copy of Star Wars unless you're going to pay 50 or plus for it.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was just a DVD because the version I have, it's this version here, and it has the first disc is the theatrical version, the original theatrical version, and the second disc is the digital remastered version. I need 5 and 6 out of this, but yeah, these were going for like $90 a pop.
Wow.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember the first one. What was the first one? Episode 1 called? It had
Phantom Menace.
Darth
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace. Yeah.
Phantom Menace. Yeah. It's one out of all of them. That was going for like over $50. Yeah, that was going for over $50 on eBay, and like I had a copy. I'm like, man, should I just go ahead and just throw mine on there? To rewatch it after I hope I try, or not after I hope after The Force Awakens. I tried to go back and watch it, and look, guys, I got to be honest. I had to kind of force myself to sit through and watch the rest of that film because I was like, man, it's just not that good.
Nope. Didn't need to see that like speeder or that race thing that took up 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. At the time, I'll be honest, I was drinking gallons of that Kool-Aid back then. Holy cow. And it wasn't until Return of the Sith, or Revenge of the Sith, I came out. I was like, yeah, Episode 1 sucked. Episode 2 wasn't like great either. Hayden Christensen killed it for me. As you know, Darth Vader is supposed to be this legendary figure, and instead he was a diaper wearing pansy. And dude, that just killed it for me.
So, I mean, his mommy.
Yeah, man, it's Obi-Wan's fault. Good God, dude. Anyways.
Yep.
All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I'll let you guys do final thoughts and shout outs. I want to give just shout outs to Rez and Silos, and a couple people joined us. Iculus joined us. I did read that a few people didn't watch because of they didn't want.
Yeah, they jumped in and jumped out.
Yeah, and they didn't want to see all the spoilers because they hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So, so that's cool. But if shout out to just anybody who watches this video even after we upload it. But if you haven't seen it, go see it. Take your parents to see it. Great film. Probably, in my opinion, guys, the best film of 2016.
Yeah.
What a Civil War. I actually think I like Star Wars better than all those, so definitely go see it.
Man. Yeah. No, I'd say definitely go see it too. It's worth seeing. If you're any type of Star Wars fan, even remotely interested, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, all the actors and actresses did a wonderful job. Forrest Whitaker surprised me in the movie. Again, going back to the comparison of Rogue One and Episode 7, I think Rogue One took it, in my opinion. Just the story was a little bit better and visually more pleasing, especially when the planets were being blown up. That was pretty cool. But definitely watching the theater 4 or 5 times, and then pick up the DVD and Blu-ray. That's what I'm going to be doing. Next holiday season, I'm going to put that on my wish list.
Absolutely. So you're saying you like Rogue One better than Force Awakens?
Yeah, the Force Awakens was cool. It's introduction to the reboot, Episode 7. So there's going to be some lull moments and some gaps in the story. That gives fuel for Episodes 8 and 9 to explain. But with Rogue One, they kind of had to tie everything together because obviously the next episode is going to be 4, and that's already been done. But really well done production. It's just wow. So again, it's like before we went live here, it felt like George Martin wrote the script because so many people that you cared about just died. Very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, that's it. We will wrap this up. Want to thank everybody for watching. Please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. As always, keep God first in your life. Enjoy your comic books and your movies. And God bless you guys.